All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner, and today I have Adriana with us. She's the founder of Fitnall and A-Fit Wellness. So welcome, Adriana. Happy to have you on.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Of course. So we'll dive right into the first question. The first question I have for you is, what's the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
Okay. Well, around 8 years ago, I was trying to apply for some position in the federal government, and I've been doing, a lot of training and preparation for that. And leading up to the point, I had an injury which I neglected, and I ended up breaking my hip just before the day in which I had the test. So obviously, I couldn't perform, the test or anything, and kind of like my whole situation, life changed because suddenly I couldn't, I had to be without basically walking for 3 months. And I had to do rehab, and so it was just a whole crazy situation. But the lesson here is that you never know why things happen. Now, if I would have taken the test and got the position that I wanted back then, I would be in a totally different situation. I would be right now traveling the country probably with 24/7 schedule, not really being able to control my life. So, the thing is that we don't know why things happen. So, and we cannot see the big picture. So that's why it's important when things happen, good or bad, we just have to, have faith that things are going to work out and know that probably a better door is going to open.
And the next question is what's the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
Okay. It's pretty basic. I'm pretty much in the fitness wellness industry. And, one thing that we take for granted and that we forget is that we only have one body. And we seem to neglect it and abuse it sometimes. But what we do with our body, how we treat it, we're going to see the consequences later. Many people say, oh, I don't exercise, I smoke, and, I'm pretty healthy, they think. But then years down the line, they have high blood pressure, they have cancer, they have, all these things. So, what we need to really keep in mind that everything that we do with our body has a consequence. So, three main things that we can not forget is we have to exercise regularly. We have to have a diet with healthy nutrients, and we have to manage our stress in a positive way, in a healthy way, because those three things, basically our bodies and our minds are connected. So we need to take care of our body and our mind. Otherwise, if we don't see the negative results now, next week, next month, next year, we'll see them down the line.
I agree with that so much. Thank you for sharing that. The next question I have is, what's your best piece of overall business advice?
All right. Basically, as I wrote in the piece, is basically about being adaptable. That's one main thing that I think we should all apply, not only in business, but in life. Because, we can make plans and we can, let's say we can have the greatest business plan, but the reality is that things don't really happen as we expect them. So, one of the things that we have to keep in mind is that we have to be flexible and we have to be able to adapt. We have to deal with the circumstances that we have and be open, see opportunities when we may not see them, and be able to execute in whatever means necessary. Also, another thing is that we have to be social and try to, we're not islands. And we are most effective when we connect with people. So be resourceful with people and be able to connect with people because, it just is for the betterment of us and others.
And if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
I will tell myself that basically you have everything within you that you need. Sometimes we have a lot of doubt in ourselves, and maybe because our childhoods were not the most nurturing, maybe our self-esteem is not the greatest. So we always doubting our capacities and our gifts. And, the truth of the matter is that we have everything that we need in life. We just have to believe in ourselves and let all our gifts basically flourish.
And in your opinion, what's the key to happiness?
I think that most people are more happy when they live with purpose, when they are not just living day by day, reacting, going to work. You have to have a purpose bigger than yourself, because that helps you to grow. So I think progress and being able to be an open vessel for humanity, I think that's what keeps us happier. That's my opinion.
And so to dive a little bit deeper into that is, how did you, because I know you're extremely into fitness. I follow you on, I think, all of your social media. So I see, even earlier today, I think I saw on Instagram, I think it was Instagram, that you were working out. So how did you find your passion?
For me, okay, one thing, being physical is very important, because I think that when we get our adrenaline, and our endorphins running, that helps our brain work better, and, it makes us happier, so being physical helps me. And also kind of always trying to have projects that are gonna help me or help others. That always keeps me, when I'm in a place where I'm not improving or doing something, having a project or a plan, or it kind of I feel stagnant.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you're kind of saying fitness for you was something, to make you more productive and everything, but overall, you just keep doing things, and then that's how you've kind of, figured out what your passion is, and then you went all in on that, which, happens to be fitness.
Yes. I'm pretty much, fitness for me is not just the body, right? But it's also the mind.
Yes.
Just as we have to take care of our body with what we, how we eat, or what kind of training, we do, we also have to feed our mind positive things. Because if you are, let's say, listening to the news every day, 80% of the news is, they're negative.
Yeah.
So it's going to keep you in a bad state. So what you put into your mind is what you give out into the world. So that's why I feel that it's very important for us to every day maybe read something positive, or hear, listen to podcasts, some, things that lift you up, or things that help you grow.
I agree. And yeah, that's one of the biggest things. I think getting rid of the news will help you dramatically.
Yes. That's why also this society is so filled with anxiety and, anger, and, it's just not good.
Yeah, it is crazy. I remember, because we're talking about I remember one morning, it was maybe 6-7 years ago, and I was at my parents' place, and I was watching the news with them in the morning, and for some reason it just something triggered within me to actually pay attention to how much of it was negative and how much of it was positive. And I think you're right on the mark there. It was between 80 to 90% negative. Yeah. And and then there was sprinkles of very minor positive things, but a very large 80-90% majority was just the most terrible things you could ever hear. And that's not the way you want to start your day, and people don't realize how much it affects the rest of your day. So I think that's something really good that you brought up there.
Absolutely.
So the next question is what's the best book you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from it?
I can't really. It's very hard for me to choose one book.
I understand. It is a tough question.
Okay, but I think that a great one that I really enjoyed is Think and Grow Rich, by Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
And it's basically for me, the main message is that we don't really realize how powerful our minds are, and that whatever we have our energy, whatever we concentrate on, that's what expands. So basically, in business or whatever is your relationship or life in general, whatever it is that you focus on, that's what grows. So if in this regard we're talking about business, whatever it is that you want for your business to change, that's what you need to put your focus on, as opposed to start thinking about the problems or because we all have problems in business. So as opposed to start thinking, oh, this is not working right, this is not right. No, concentrate on what what's good, that helps you keep moving. You are able to see solutions, opportunities, and that's I think that a great one. But there are so many. I love the one by Tony Robbins, Unshakable, or the Steve Jobs book. Elon Musk is just endless.
Yeah, there is. And Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, that was one of the first self-help or business books that I read. And that one completely changed my whole thinking. It was actually part of the reason why I dropped out of school after reading that book, because I was like, it empowered me to realize, I was like, I think I can do this on my own without a degree. So yeah, wow. I'm with you. That's a very pivotal book, so highly recommend it too. So the next question is what's your favorite quote and why?
Okay, there are many things that I live by, but basically the main thing will be for me, I don't know exactly how it goes, but it's something like, if you fall down 7 times, get up 8 times, right?
Yes.
So because life is not easy. It's full of up and downs, and we cannot just let negative things affect us and change our path, let's say, right? So we need to keep our focus on whatever goals we have, and despite the circumstances, despite whatever happens, we just have to keep going, keep getting up. The day that you don't get up is the day that you're dead.
Yes.
So.
No, I agree. And thank you so much for coming on, Adriana. The last question I have is, where can people best find you online?
Okay. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. You can find me Adriana Albritton, Albritton. I'm also active on Instagram, Adriana Fit and All. I have a Facebook, Adriana A-Fit Wellness. But if you Google me, you probably find me. I have a YouTube channel and a blog, my blog. I write about wellness, fitness, mindset, all these good things.
Perfect. What's the link to your blog, your website?
So it's www.fitnall.com. Fit and All.
Perfect. Thank you again for coming on, Adriana. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.